Alright everyone, it's time for day 2 of the Venezuela Uprising. It's still going on. It looks like it's getting more dire for Maduro's people. At first it looked like it was going to be one of those situations where it's like, Guiado says the military should rise up, a few units join him, he takes over an airport and then ends up leaving, or something like that. But what I suggested the other day appears to have happened, which is that I think the goal is to make a big show of it. You don't have a lot of support at first, but you make a big show of it, you get people onto the streets, they get more fervent, things get more violent, and exactly what I suggested might happen ended up happening, which is you saw some of Maduro's forces ran over some protesters in the road. That got people pissed, because what happens is when you have a force, when you have a military force attacking people who ultimately are armed mostly with rocks and sticks, it looks lopsided, and if there's too much brutality, people start coming out more. It doesn't have the silencing impact that is usually suggested by a strong-armed dictator. They think, hey, I kill some protesters, everyone else flees. Basically, they cower in their homes. That's not what's happening. And the reason that's not happening is because the optics of Guiado saying there will be a military uprising here, I've got dudes with machine guns too, that is emboldening people. Now, the socialist apologists are all saying, well, this is a coup, it's a coup by foreign elements. The only foreign elements right now in Venezuela are a bunch of Russians and they back Maduro, so let's keep this in mind for a moment. This is the cost of real socialism. This is what Bernie Sanders wants for the United States. By the way, I have no fucking goddamn doubt whatsoever that he and other socialist lovers here in the United States right now are quaking in their boots looking at this situation, hoping desperately that the legacy media doesn't report on it too much. Hey, another socialist dictatorship falls by the wayside because socialism sucks dick. But, you know, let's import it here. Great idea. Some of those people who are sort of fence-sitting, they're kind of on the left, and they're like, well, I'm not really taken in by the Bernie Sanders or the Warren socialism message, the Kamala Harrises and Maxine Waters and AOC morons of the Democratic Party. Now they're like, well, yeah, but I'm seeing this country, and it seems to be real socialism. It's so funny, because years ago, like groups like Salon, they would say, well, this is real socialism, this is what we need here, look at how much better things are after Chavez, people have microwaves and shit, and now it's falling apart, and now all of a sudden they say it's not real socialism. They do this habitually because every socialist regime makes stupid centralization errors and ends up fucking itself in the ass. That's basically the name of the leftist game when it comes to economics. By the way, ask two different socialists, and one of them will say Venezuela is not really socialistic. The other one will say, yes, it is. It's a glorious place, but it's a coup. So which is it? Is it socialism or is it not socialism? It's Schrodinger's socialism. It both is and isn't at the same time, depending on who you ask and how their fucking economy happens to be going. Then Maduro gets the bright idea. As if you needed more evidence that it was a totalitarian regime. Like, yeah, blocking pretty much the whole internet a few weeks ago wasn't enough. Now they've banned CNN and BBC and taken them off air. If you can't get the BBC and CNN to support your left-wing regime, you are totally fucking lost. The legacy media, they pander about socialism. They love leftism. Here in the United States, they'll make 10 fluff pieces today about how socialism's not really that bad, but even they can't defend Maduro. Even the legacy media will no longer defend him. Who are his allies? Why the fuck is he still in power? Why the fuck hasn't the military fully defected? I mean, he can't govern. At this point, he's got this opposition leader picking away at the military. He's got people in the streets burning shit and throwing rocks. People are starving. The stores are non-functional. I remember as little as a year ago, they were saying, well, like that fucking moron there, the news moron, I think he was from the Daily Beast, if I remember correctly, which explains why he's a moron, going to the state-run store inside of sort of the gated community, upper-class, Maduro-loving suburbs of Caracas, and he goes to the one store there, he's like, oh, there's plenty of stuff here to buy, and you know, notoriously and conspicuously, though, there's only like 2 people in the fucking goddamn store. It's the size of a Hannaford's or something here, and yet there's like 2 or 3 people milling about. Even they've only got a few things. It's like, how much did they pay these people to be props? That's basically a Potemkin village-style bullshit. That's what these morons see. Go into the slums of Caracas. I bet it's way worse than the slums and the ghettos here. I bet it is. Bet it looks a little bit like the worst areas of Detroit on a bad day. There were only 3 shootings today. Wow, you know, gun violence is way down these days. Fucking the leftists here love to project too. It's like, well, America's so violent. Trump is a despot. You know, Trump is attacking the First Amendment because he made a mean tweet. But when Maduro takes CNN and the BBC off air, completely forces them out to, you know, in a death spiral socialistic bullshit situation, it's not problematic at all. The legacy media won't even talk about it mostly. But again, if CNN won't defend your leftism, you're fucked. Maduro is basically fucked. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if he has Guiado and his people killed right now. He's still lost control of his goddamn country. And seeing people apologize for socialism is hilarious. Seeing people say, oh, Maduro's not a bad dude. It's a CIA coup. The CIA doesn't have jack shit to do with the situation in Venezuela. Socialism does. If you centralize your economy heavily, then you have to make sure that the people running the economy don't make dumb mistakes. That's the glory of a free market. If the economy is distributed over millions of people making their own personal decisions, any one single person, even if they had a huge corporation, is not going to take down your whole goddamn economy. But in centralized systems, if you got 10 people making all the economic decisions, or in Venezuela's case, less than that, I think, probably. You got like 3 people that basically do everything with regards to micromanaging the currency and trade and everything else. Yes, if a couple people make a dumb decision, like, hey, let's borrow 10 years worth of oil surplus because we think that the oil prices will keep rising, and then it collapses, shit, you're fucked. You're never going to pay that debt off. Venezuela, tomorrow, the oil price could double and Venezuela would still be in more and more debt. They still wouldn't be able to make up the difference. Their economy, generally speaking, is now in decline. That is socialism. They made dumb decisions, and now the only way out for Venezuela, it's not Guiado with socialism light. Oh, well, yeah, we're going to have socialism, but we're not foreign investors in. We'll denationalize those businesses we seized, and we'll basically beg for that. That's not gonna help Venezuela. The oil prices are still low. A massive proportion of your economy being fuel related is still worth considerably less than it was before. There was no attempt to modernize and invest in making it more efficient, so this wouldn't have been a problem. If that had happened, the quality of life in Venezuela would have grown much more slowly, but the quality of life would still be higher today. Instead, because of socialism, because of free shit, they decided to piss away that surplus. And it's just exactly like a person who basically, no matter how much money they make, they manage to spend it all, run up a bunch of debt. They think, hey, I'll always be making this high salary. And then when they get a pink slip, they get fucked in the ass. That's socialism. That's why we can't allow it to take hold here under any circumstances. We should be fighting back against all forms of economic leftism. We should be peeling back the leftism that's already there, not just sitting. It's sort of like on gun rights. This is what pisses me off about the so-called fucking conservatives in the United States. Getting way off topic of Venezuela, by the way, in the process. They say, well, I'm a fiscal conservative. I don't want any new taxes. And it's like, it's bullshit, because you should be scaling back the taxes that are already there. Where's your will to fight? The Overton window is just going to keep shifting slowly away from your so-called conservative positions. But 10 years prior, you would have been a liberal. Some of the conservatives today, I mean, they sound like Jimmy Carter or some stupid shit like that. Oh, I don't want to touch I want to reduce the budget, but I don't want to touch this program, this program, this program, this program. I don't want to reduce Pentagon spending. I don't want to audit the Fed. I don't want to do anything fiscally conservative. I just don't want more socialism than we already have. That's our fucking conservatives here. You have to go to the Libertarian Party or like the far side of Trump populism to find someone who actually understands economics anymore in this country. And Venezuela doesn't seem to have anyone who fucking understands. That's why they're so far gone. Yeah, that's the United States future 50 years from now if we go down the route of Bernie Sanders and his more fucking stupid fans. And they, you gotta be stupid to believe in his economic voodoo. So yeah, now that I've said my bit about socialism as applied to the entire world, it's still not clear what's going to happen with the uprising. It could be that tomorrow Maduro has Guiado killed, wipes out, those particular pockets of opposition, things go back to seemingly calm and then explode later. But I mean, even if that happens, somebody else will come along. You're going to end up, the worst thing is this. Let's say Guiado loses. Let's say they force him out into Colombia or they kill him or something. The next person to come along is much more likely to be even more corrupt. That's just the name of the game, because then once all of the good-hearted revolutionaries or reformists or whatever are killed or chased out and they're no longer capable of doing anything, who's left? Opportunists, mafiosos who will have Maduro killed if they think that they can seize power for themselves because they want money and they want power. They won't even care about Venezuela, and they will suck the cock of foreign corporations and nations. And they will definitely sell Venezuela down the river. Yes, they'll partner with the West. They'll partner with Putin. They'll partner with China. Whoever will give them the most money. And they'll say, you can go ahead and strip the resources here bare, but you let me keep my position, and I want to have my state parades and my vodka and caviar lifestyle. That's basically what you get. And there are nations that have done this before. They sell out to the West and to the East. Happened during the Cold War. A lot of people ran their nations into the ground trying to appease the East and the West. Basically, we're back on the grand chessboard. The Cold War is back on. Venezuela's part of it. We need to, that's the other thing. Don't look at it as just, well, it's fuel related. Uncle Sam wants more oil. Fuck the oil. We got plenty of oil of our own. It has nothing to do with that. Venezuela's oil doesn't even matter. It's just part of the grand chessboard. There are some states in the American hemisphere that are East aligned, sort of communistic. We're fighting them. Why do you think that Trump is threatening Cuba right now too? Bolton just threatened Nicaragua a week ago. It's a war. We're in a fucking war against communism again. Thank goodness. At least we're fighting for a good cause. I just hope it doesn't have to lead to actual bloodshed. Why do you think he's focusing so much on North Korea? He's trying to pick that out of the Eastern Bloc too. Reunify Korea. It doesn't matter if it ends up non-aligned or whatever. Who fucking cares? At least it's one less nuclear flashpoint. The United States' first primary goal is to chase all the Eastern aligned bullshit out of this hemisphere, other than apparently Bolivia and Ecuador, I suppose. Chase it out of this hemisphere, get rid of the commies, basically, have a unified America sort of situation, have one solid alliance, and fuck the rest of the world, we get a whole fucking hemisphere to ourselves. Monroe Doctrine up in this bitch. That's about all. Peace out.